My name's Roman Carter. I'm actually a lieutenant in the Hartford Fire Department. Been a Hartford resident all my life, West Indian background, Trinidadian and St. Lucian. It's pretty much me. Growing up in Hartford, you really don't realize what growing up in Hartford is until you get older and you realize, some of the stuff that you went through, not too many other kids go through it or experience things or see things. But for the most part, for me, growing up with a West Indian background, your parents work hard enough to, be able to put a roof over your head, put a garden in the backyard, and, afford school clothes, pair of sneakers, for the school year, and that was that. But other than, for the most part, just learning how to grind, how to figure out life on your own, and for the most part, just figuring it out yourself. Your parents, especially West Indian parents, they're not going to understand, America as we know it growing up. So much things change. So, like I said, growing up when you're younger, it's normal to, have fist fights. It's normal, especially growing up in Hartford. I think it's normal to have a friend that gets killed from gun violence or, some type of domestic dispute. As you get older, you realize that's not normal. Especially some of the kids that are growing up seeing, drug usage from their parents, um, all types of violence growing up. Um, that's those things we grow up and it is what it is. We listen to music, we see it out in the street, and it's just a way of life to us. But as you get older, and I think, as we grow up and we start learning about mental health, we start learning some of these things become traumas to our life and to our health. Growing up in Hartford, you either know someone who's been shot at, or you've been shot or shot at. I've been shot, I've been stabbed, I've been, in plenty of fistfights, gotten jumped. Um, Plenty of experiences, like I said, but to us it's normal. I would assume probably 1 out of 3 kids in Hartford knows somebody who's been shot, stabbed, you know, killed, if not themselves. You know what I'm saying? Not obviously not killed, but shot or stabbed, and could tell a story.
Why do you think that is?
I just think it's the culture. I think that Hartford's a small city, but we're all trying to figure life out ourselves, and just with obviously poverty, poverty anywhere, there's gonna be, a battle over food, over crumbs, over money, over drugs, over whatever there is to fight about. So I think we kind of just grow up with this I got to get mine mentality, like a cutthroat mentality, and it just it stems down from obviously our parents, older generations to us, and sometimes it gets to a point where someone's losing their life or going to jail for the rest of their life. Throughout my journey, seeing things for what it is, um, I quickly as I got older, or growing up, my parents got divorced, and there was always issues within child support. Oh, I'm not paying for this. Well, I'm not paying for this, and I quickly had to learn that I needed to be able to provide for myself. I was into fashion, wanted nice things, so I quickly figured that I need to get a job. I need to get my own money, and that's when I started venturing out, trying to find work, trying to find a job. You dibble and dabble in things. I think everybody growing up dibbles and dabbles in trying to hustle and trying to sell drugs and whatnot. And for me, I'm a realist, so I quickly learned like this isn't for me. I felt like the money at the time that I was making wasn't enough to bail me out of jail, so that was like, all right, I'm all set with that. But also as well, like my father, I used to live with my dad, and he had me super sheltered because of the work that he did. He worked in the ME's office, picking up dead bodies all the time. So, but growing up, that wasn't something that I was nobody wants to be locked in. So I moved out, moved with my mom, and sure enough, that's when I went to jail. That's when I had got shot, and all the things that he was trying to hide me from, I quickly seen, what it was that was outside. But I think, for the most part, within those situations, once I moved out my dad's house, I kind of had this mentality where I'm gonna show him. Like I always had these like, he thinks that I'm not going to amount to anything because I left. And the next years after that, I just spent trying to prove him wrong and trying to be something in life. And I fortunately I end up getting into the fire service, and that's as I go on start realizing what it was that motivated me to get into the fire service and experiencing life for itself and seeing those things that kids in Hartford go through. It's like a rite of passage in a sense. I mean, you don't have to go through it, but sometimes you just end up running through it. So, as far as violence in general, I definitely think that within society, within life, you know, it's always kind of like a trickle down effect within from our parents and things that we went through. And then now, we're trying to figure out our way of life. And it never becomes any easier, right? So now we're trying to figure out the best way to make it through life, right? Um, Minimum wage, things like that, trying to be able to afford housing, a vehicle, some of those things. Um, Sometimes it seems impossible to people, especially growing up in some of the environments that we grow up in. And now we resort to illegal activities, maybe selling drugs or, um, just all types of other illegal activities or of things of that nature, male or female, and just trying to protect what's yours in a sense. Uh, Obviously, I could sit here and say people are scared to fight, but I think that it's when you have access to weapons and things of that such. I think that it's just part of our culture now. It's one of those things where people just not that they don't care, but it's like a hopeless mentality kind of in a sense. It's like it's either me or whoever else, and you got to get it by any means. So, as far as being working in the area that I've grown up in and seeing, violence and drugs, we see it a lot. It's funny because I think you guys interviewed Fuego Bass, and he has a song called "We Need More Narcan for the Trap."
Yeah, that's the theme song of the Frontlines.
Yeah, that song is true. And I look at it in a way where, as what I do as a fireman, it's a fact. Now his trap may be different from mine, but if you like a trap is where you work in a sense. We're reeing up on Narcan all the time, so his song relates to me just as much. We use Narcan. If you look up the statistics on how much Narcan we use within first responders in Hartford, it's ridiculous. So we see it a lot. The interesting thing about with Narcan is it's not people from our neighborhood. It's people coming from outside of the neighborhood, and can't wait to get home and overdosing, within uh, within parks, within shopping malls within the city, um, back blocks of Hartford. We see it oh so often. And we check out their ID and it's Colchester or Enfield or something of that sort. So we see it a lot. We see it quite often. So Narcan is an agent that kind of, I think it blocks like the opioid receptors or something that gives the individuals that high. I think it stops it in some sort of way. I can't give you the exact definition, but I know that once we apply it, they get pretty upset once it wakes them up and it takes away that high. I think that like I said, where we're from, our town, Hustle mentality. People aren't, going to McDonald's and banking on Burger King to, benefit their families. We don't. People aren't believing that, or it's going to be able to get them a vehicle and pay insurance. And Connecticut has some of the highest taxes. They're going to be able to pay taxes or live that American dream. So, people are going to find other ways, and people are going to, figure out how to, get fentanyl, figure out how to get dope, figure out how to get these things and make a dollar off of it, and then try and live a legal life. So,
What do you think needs to change to make, to kind of fix the issue?
yeah, I think it's, giving people hope that there is a way that you could obtain the American dream in a sense, whether that's by increasing minimum wage or giving individuals some type of benefits to people that are trying to make a change, that are trying to help, or not trying to damage the community. I think that some people need some of those type of incentives to to change the culture and change the dynamic, as well as parenting as well. We definitely need to get a grip on parenting, because that's where it starts from, honestly. But it's only so much you can do for a parent that's just as hopeless as a young kid, right? As I've gotten into DJing, Hartford has influenced my musical journey a tremendous amount. Me growing up with a West Indian background, Hartford is predominantly West Indian, whether it's Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Trinidad, or Guyana, Haiti, any of those places. But just growing up in that atmosphere, I moved to Blue Hills like my freshman year in high school, and that's heavily populated by West Indian culture. And going to parties and hearing the music and things of that sort, I travel a lot, and just going to different states. I feel like every state, is into hip hop music, but then they all have a different genre of music that state, adapts to. So if you go to DC, they're into go-go music. If you go to New Jersey, it's like New Jersey, I forgot what it's called, but it's like a Jersey type of music. And so on and so forth. In Hartford, I think our second, genre of music is definitely reggae music, and those are one of the things that my style of DJing is influenced by. So I think since I've gotten into DJing, I gotten into DJing when quarantine started, and I think what makes DJing for me exciting and what I like about it is because for me, before I got into it or once I got into it, I found a lane that I wanted to pursue. And that lane was being able to break an artist, being able to play local artists in club. I felt like that was an issue that I really, when you go out, you didn't hear too many local artists within the clubs. So that was a lane that I wanted to get into. So I definitely have to be tapped into local artists all the time. The thing with me though is I tr- I'm not trying to tap into just any and every artist. I want to tap into artists that have, great music, and somebody like Fuego and many others have amazing music that can be played in the club. So that's one of the things. And when I DJ, I always say it too. I could play a bunch of people I don't know, but I'm at least play one person I do. I think because Hartford, Connecticut is untapped market where we don't have a celebrity rapper, somebody who's like officially made it. We've had people that were close, but we don't have anybody that's made it. So when people see somebody like Fuego Bass, who's was on tour recently this summer and doing a lot of big things for the Hartford community, I think it influences a lot of the kids. I think a lot of the kids, it's a different outlet, kind of like what we were talking about, what could help. I think that outlet of making music gives kids hope to say, you know what, I don't have to, kind of choose the illegal activities and the violence and so forth, they can pursue something like Fuego Base and potentially make it. He hasn't made it to the top yet, but he's damn near on his way. And for other people to see that, I think that's very influential within our city.
So what do you think's next for you?
With me, it's just continuing to musically and just trying to just be a positive, genuine person in life and trying to make a difference within whether it's music or whether it's firefighting, but just trying to be a person that can influence people just by being who I am. I think that's one of the biggest things when it comes to influencing the kids as well. I think back in the day, we would have these mentors that would come to school with like hoopties and they would come with, shirt, shoot, suit and tie and all these different things. And it wasn't practical for us. It wasn't reality to us. It wasn't like I can pursue that or I don't even want to pursue that. Like he doesn't have anything I want. So I think as we go in society now, you have a lot of younger people that look and dress like the youth. Your doctor nowadays is young and may listen to the same music that you listen to. He may come into the doctor's office with Jordans on or sneakers, and those things are influencing the culture as well. So I think being a representation of the neighborhood and just being yourself, I think that's one of the things that would definitely help change the culture, and that's how I try and make my stamp in the world, I guess. I hope for Hartford that we could bring more, because like where it's going now, I think that we Hartford is super influential within Connecticut or within the Northeast for that part, but I think we're losing a lot of that, especially as a lot of companies and resources are leaving Hartford. Um, I would love to see us bring back some of the resources and some of the things that made Connecticut what it is today back. Um, we lost a lot, but hopefully, we could bring some of those things back because right now there's nothing to do in Hartford. Our downtown is shot, and it's just nothing. So hopefully we could bring back some more resources, lower the taxes or something, bring some people back. So that's what I hope for Hartford.
Awesome. That's it. Is there anything you want to add or?
No, it's crazy. I was nervous
No,
today.
good.
Yeah.